Hi friends, welcome to Purple Banjo RVs, where our whole goal is to get you outside. Now I wish it weren't the case, but like most fun things in life, it seems to cost money, like everything else. So with that in mind, we do need to do some budgeting for these trips that we take, especially on the bigger ones, because those are of course the most expensive. Now budgeting is not something I'm normally great at, and I'm working harder on getting better at it, especially as we travel more. So what I've done was I put together this template here just to help with the budgeting process. And if you stick around till the end of this video, I'll tell you how you can get a copy of this for yourself to use for your own trip planning and your own budgeting needs. So what I'm going to do now is spend just a minute or two going over the template and what's in it, and then we'll look at actually working out a budget for my family's upcoming trip down to Monterey. I keep things pretty general on this so that it's easy for you to adapt it for your own use, for your own traveling needs. The first section here, transportation, that's where we're gonna throw in like site fees for the RV park or campsite you're staying at, fuel costs, tolls, parking. Depending on how long you're gone and how long you're on the road, you may need to calculate in like some oil changes or some maintenance on your tow vehicle or on your motorhome rig. The middle section here, food and drinks, that one's pretty self-explanatory. That one's going to include the groceries, any eating out you're going to do. We like to break out a line for snacks. Some people may want to break out a line for alcohol. This could include extra food that you're getting if you're cooking for others, like maybe you like to travel for, say, Thanksgiving, and you're meeting folks there and you're going to have a big group get together and eat together. Then down here, activities. This, of course, is anything you plan to do on your trip. This can include admission to a museum or to state national parks. We like to go see a lot of zoos, amusement parks, tours you want to go on. We don't tend to do the kind of RV camping where you park at the RV camp or the RV site and hang out there the whole time. We like to get out and about and see what's around and go experience things. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not the kind of traveling that we tend to do. Now on this piece, there's two columns here, the estimate and the actual. The estimate right here is what we're going to be working on today, kind of giving our best estimate and our best shot at how much we're going to spend in these different categories. The actual column right here, this is where we'll kind of tally as we go along through the week and count up how much we're spending in these different categories, and we can compare that to the total budget that we've come up with and see what the difference is there. Hopefully it's pretty close, and that kind of helps inform future trip planning as well. All right, now I want to say fun part, but adding up how much you're going to spend is never fun. So we'll just dive into the meat of this thing. First things first, we'll start with fuel, and we'll estimate our fuel costs. Now the way I estimate our fuel costs is I come into Google Maps and I search for where we're going and just get the general mileage from it, just like you would for any other trip, because when we're dealing with fuel mileage, close is good enough. We can see that it's estimating 174 miles. So I'll bring up my calculator and we'll just do 174 times 2, whoops, it's 349 now. Just through previous travels and lots of experience tracking gas mileage, I know that our tow vehicle averages about 9 miles a gallon, maybe 10 on a good trip. So, you know, it's not great, but it is what it is. So I'm going to divide that by 9. So it looks like we're going to chew through 38 gallons of gas. 38 gallons, we're just going to round that out to 39. Now we got to figure out how much gas is going to cost. And, you know, we're in the Sacramento area and I know what gas costs up the street, but we're traveling almost 200 miles. So what I'm going to do is go to this gaspricesaa.com, and this link and any of the other links that I use to plan this trip I'll include down in the comments, of course, so you can take advantage of them too. You can see it's got it all broken up by region. We of course live in the most expensive region. I'm going to drill down into California, and then it's going to break things up by county. So I'm going to look at Sacramento County. I see 450 here, 470, call it 480, 480, 45 here. So I'm just gonna say 490 for the average. So we'll say 39 gallons times $4.9 a gallon. That's gonna be 191.1, 191.10. And then because we do a lot of driving around, I'm going to add in 1 full tank of gas as well. So 20 times 4.9, that's another $98. Do the quick math. So we're estimating spending $289.10 on our fuel costs. Next thing I'm going to enter is going to be our site rental or our site fees. Basically, how much is it going to cost to stay where we want to stay? And for that, I'm just going to jump into the email I got from scroll down here and I can get that total amount. This is a pricey place to stay, but it is of course right on the beach. So we're just going to pay it and deal with it and get over it. 9, 13, 14. Next thing on here, I'm going to add, I want to estimate and make sure that we're considering parking as we do all of our adventuring and running around. The way I'm going to get to that number is I'm going to come to the City of Monterey website, scroll down, and I can get an idea of how much it's going to cost to park from this website. And it looks like $8 a day or $1.50 to $1.75 an hour. So I'm just going to call that $10 a day. We're actually going to be there over a week, but we're probably only going to be running around for like 5 days. So 5 times 10, we're just going to call it $50 for parking. Jumping over to food and drinks, I just do a general entry for groceries. Now with groceries, it's pretty easy. We already kind of have a sense of what we spend on a week in regular groceries, and that's really not going to change while we're traveling, while we're in the RV. And when I estimate this, I'm going to keep in mind that we'll probably eat out for dinner a couple nights a week and a few lunches while we're out and about. Overall, we're going to go with $150 for groceries because that's in the neighborhood of what we would normally spend in a week for the 3 of us. And I spelled groceries wrong. Now that's going to include everything that we're going to pack in the trailer like we would pack in the cupboards at home. Groceries to cook meals that we plan to eat while we're at camp at the trailer, maybe those snacks, any beer or other drinks we're bringing with us. So we're going to say $150 for that. It might be a little bit light, but yeah, I think it's going to be close enough for this trip. Next is dining out. We want to make sure that we have a budget for this with dining out. With dining out, again, this one's pretty self-explanatory, and this is mainly going to be lunches while we're out and about because we don't want to have to worry about always packing a lunch to bring with us, like to the aquarium or something. And then we usually just plan on eating out a couple nights a week just because it's kind of nice. So I'm going to say 4 lunches at $50 a piece and then 2 dinners at $75 a piece. I know Monterey is an expensive place to dine out, but with the little guy with us, it's not like we're going to be trying to eating at 5-star restaurants or something like that. So I think these numbers should work just fine. We're going to put $350 for dining out. And then next, I like to break out a line for snacks and street food. I know there's this great candy store that my son is definitely want to go visit. You're going to want drinks while you're out wandering around town. There's this incredible shrimp cocktail that's available on Fisherman's Wharf that I just can't make a trip to Monterey without indulging in that one. All of this, we're going to estimate about $120 for the week for snacks and street food. And that's just based on my gut feeling of having been to Monterey a number of times in the past and kind of what I think it's going to be. Next is activities, and in the activities section, this is where we're going to log again all those things that we want to go and that we want to do while we're out and about. And I'm going to start with general amusements. And what I mean by general amusements is just things like the carousel that I don't think is there anymore. Maybe rent one of these cool bikes right here, 4-seater bike that I just don't know if I'm gonna get that to fly with my wife, but we'll try. I've been trying for years. Maybe this week will be the winner. And just those things you see that you want to do, like the field glasses to look out over the ocean that you got to put a quarter in. This is where all those things will encompass. And for this one, we're just going to estimate $150 just because it seems about right, again, based on my gut feeling from past trips. Now, the big draw for us is the Monterey Bay Aquarium. They did some filming for one of the Star Trek movies here, and it's just a great, wonderful experience. It is expensive, but in my mind, it's well worth it. So we want to make sure we get to do that, and we want to make sure that we budget for that. So I'm going to put in for our aquarium tickets here. And to figure out how much that's going to cost, what I do is I just go straight to their website, and you can see that it's going to be $49.95 each for my wife and I, and it's going to be $34.95 for my son because he is under 12, and that's going to come up to $134.85. We're big fans of the zoo. We love going to different zoos when we travel. And there is a zoo in Monterey, or at least nearby Monterey, that we're planning on going to. It's actually inland a little bit, but it's not too far at all. You can see here's Monterey, here's the zoo, and then we're staying over in this area. So it's just a nice short little drive. And again, I'm just gonna go to their website and find out how much it's gonna cost for us to get in. And it looks like for the zoo here, it's just going to be an even $100. Now, yes, probably going to eat lunch there that day, but that's why we budget that in that dining out line earlier in this form here. There's two more things that we want to do that are going to cost money, and I'm just going to cram them in on this line here. They're just going to have to share one. One is going to be 17-mile drive. I love 17-mile drive. There's all kinds of beautiful sights to stop and see. I want to make sure I get to share that with my son, and it's only $11 or $11.25 to get your vehicle in. You can see if we go to the map that there's a ton to stop and see along the way, and I want to make sure I get to share that with my family again because it's something special to me and it doesn't cost a lot. And even though it said $11.25, I'm just gonna put $20 to account for any extra gas that it might eat while we're out there driving. The final thing I want to account for and make sure that we have money set aside on our budget to do is going to be the paddle boats at El Estero Lake. It's right by Dennis the Menace Park. It's wonderful. These things are super cheesy, super kitschy, but it's just a really fond memory of me going there as a child with my mom and my dad, and it's something I want to share with my family, particularly my son, because he's going to get the biggest kick out of it. You can see it's not all that expensive. It's $35 an hour, and I got to imagine that winter near the coast, about an hour is probably the most that my family is going to be willing to tolerate being out on the water, because you are so near the ocean at that point. It's going to be chilly, but I think it's going to be well worth it. So I will add that in, that 1 hour for $35. Now I'll go ahead and pull that calculator back up and we'll add up the grand total. So it looks like our grand total is going to be $2,312.09. Now that is definitely one of our bigger, more expensive trips, but it is Monterey, it is the Central Coast. There is just no way to spend a week in Monterey and it be inexpensive. But it's something we've planned for, it's something we're saving for, and it's something I'm really, really looking forward to because I have so many fond memories of trips there with my family when I was a kid. And even though that is a big number and it is a lot, it's still cheaper than staying in a hotel and eating out for every meal like we would if we traveled a little more traditionally for a vacation. Now, if you want a copy of this budget template, there is a link in the description where you can download that for free. I don't want any money. I don't want your email for it. It's yours to take and use for your own. I just want to share this tool with you that I like to use to help budget for our family's trips. It makes traveling a lot easier, and I have a little more peace of mind knowing that we definitely have enough money set aside for this trip. That's it for now. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video after this one when we get back and we can see how close the budget was to our actual cost. So keep an eye out for that video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to get more RV content, camping content, or just general other adventures that me and my family like to go on. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.